In today's video, I fill up with diesel. I start my 6-day journey to Foxton Locks and I enter my first tunnel. Hello, welcome back to Red One Afloat. I'm about to embark on a 6-7 day journey. First time out on the cut over a few nights. Quite excited by it. Got to go through 3 tunnels. It's about 66 miles in all, there and back. So I'm really looking forward to it. Just going to my first lock of the day at Marina. Right, just coming out of the first lock, go through one more lock, then I'm going to actually stop and get some diesel just to make sure I've got enough to get back. And I think I'll also pick up a gas bottle, so I've got one empty. Really don't want to run out while I'm out there. Much cooler day today. When we got to the boat yesterday, it was 37 inside the boat, which is quite, that's centigrade. Which is quite warm for this country. Much cooler today, due to be about 23 I think. I stop here to buy diesel and a small gas bottle before I move on. Oh, that's me filled up right to the brim of diesel, and I also got a small gas bottle because at the moment a big one doesn't fit, so I've got to do some rearranging in my gas locker. When I change gas bottles again, I'll get a bigger one. I want to fill up right to the brim of diesel so I get an idea of how big the tank is. When I just filled up, it came to 129 pounds, but that included the gas bottle, and that's about 127 litres of diesel. So on my way down towards Braunston. I believe the Bronson Vintage Rally is on today or this week, so I'm going to have to be careful going past all those boats, historic boats. I'll show you some of them as we go past, of course. Then I'll be going through Bronson Tunnel first. That's over 2,000 yards long, and it will be my first ever tunnel. Just got the sun breaking through now. I think I'm going to put my sunglasses on. Ah, that's better. Not squinting so much. I'm just coming out to Bridge 17 and the junction. I'm going to turn left, and I think with this brightness I'm actually going to put my hat on now, because I've really got an awful lot of protection up there in the hair department. That's better. At that turn we just went past, came around the corner there. I didn't quite panic, but there was somebody coming. I wasn't sure which side they were coming from, so as you saw I slowed down a bit, and then I see they were coming from my left. So that I could move past on the right, as you should do. And that was Wigram's Turn Marina, where we turned. Got a mile or so before we get to the Nimrod Bridge. Just had a couple of vintage boats go past me. One of them had a really impressive sounding engine. Wish I could have caught that. I did like that. I'm just coming up to a winding hole, which I'm not going to use. It's called Thickthorn Winding Hole. Thickthorn House Winding Hole. They do have some amazing names, some of these features on the waterways. It's going to be going under a bridge as I turn left. This is Bridge 107. Garners Bridge. Bit of a blind bend to the right and a boat that's moored there, so I have to go slowly and carefully just in case. Going backwards or forwards? Bit of a blind bend, couldn't see. Thanks for your help anyway. Well, that was a bit of a drama. Boat's moored there right on the bend after a bridge, and I had a vintage boat coming the other way, so I had to slam on anchors, trying to reverse up, thinking that they were still coming, and they stopped and I stopped. A lot of hand waving, and eventually I went and passed just. Well, I need to check the side of my boat because the bushes were scraping up against there. Hopefully the paint's okay. I just want to show you the water levels on the canal are actually really quite low now. Must be a good 9-10 inches there that the water levels are down. When you think canals are only 3-4 foot deep at the most, that's quite a chunk. Some beautiful countryside round here. Just have a look. Just coming up to a spot that I moored at a few weeks ago. This is a canal that I've been on a few times now. And by the time we get to Braunston, that's where it'll be a new canal for me, or new part of a canal, going through Bronson Tunnel. Notice something quite interesting. So I've got my sunglasses on, and the clouds have got quite a bit more definition. Let me see if I can get it to work on the camera. Just bear with me. Don't know how good that was because I didn't have my glasses on. Haha. We're just coming up to Braunston fairly soon. That's where I'm going to show you some of the vintage boats. Alright, we're just coming up to Braunston Junction. I'm going to turn right towards Braunston Tunnel. I did think that this junction here would be packed out, but you can only just about see one boat coming around. See the church spire in the distance. Horsley Ironworks made these bridges apparently. Bridges 93 and 94. There's a chandlery just behind. Can't see it from here. This is not as busy as I thought it was going to be, but just on the right you can see some vintage boats used to carry cargo back in the day, and some of these canals that were going along over 250 years old. Quite incredible. Things about bridges, you always meet a boat coming the other way. Got two vintage carrying boats just coming up on the right. I'm about to go through Bronson Tunnel. Not going to be able to do too much filming, but probably no filming at all, as this is my first ever tunnel. I'll see if I can do some on the way back. Here we are, coming up to Braunston Tunnel. Tunnel is 2,042 yards long, and I think that's just under 2 kilometres. Oh, it's 1.873 metres, or 1,873 metres. 3.81 metres wide and 2.29 metres high. So, in theory, it's straightforward to get two boats side by side through the tunnel. Now, this tunnel is famous for a kink in the middle. See a shape of a boat, but if I can't see a light, that probably means it's going the other way. There was a boat in front of me before I come in here. And yes, I remembered to change my sunglasses to normal, and just as we come into the tunnel they all get misted up for some reason. Must be quite humid in here. And that is the Braunston Tunnel done. As we come out into the sunshine, bright sunshine after the dark tunnel. It's actually a lot easier than I was expecting it to be. Very long, but luckily no boats coming the other way. Just coming up to Norton Junction, and we're going to turn left here. This is quite a famous junction, this one. It's got a willow tree right in the corner. Eventually made it round that corner. I had to stop filming because I messed it up completely, and the wind took me and I nearly crashed into other boats. So I thought best stop filming and just sort it out. Hi, welcome back to Cooking on the Cut. Today I'm going to make you a cottage pie, and it's one of my favourites. I haven't made it for a little while, but it is one that I tend to go to if I'm looking for something that's going to warm me up a little bit, and it tastes absolutely amazing. Let me just show you what the ingredients are. Now, for a cottage pie you actually need beef mince. Try and get a mince that's, you want at least 10 to 15%, and to go with that you need some onions, 1 onion, 2 grated garlic, some peas, 1 carrot, and 1 stick of celery. And the herbs, I've got thyme, 1 teaspoon of thyme, 2 bay leaves, 1/4 cup or so of tomato puree, and 1 beef stock cube, and a stock pot. Now, to go with the stock pot you're going to need 200 ml of water. If you have got stock broth, then use 200 ml of that. That'd be absolutely fine. About 80 grams of flour, that's to mix in, make it a bit thicker, and Worcestershire sauce, hopefully you can get that anywhere in the world, some red wine, and some oil to start the cooking on the onions. The other ingredient that goes with cottage pie is obviously mash, and that will sit on top of the cooked meat. And to go in the mash, I'm going to put a little bit of cream, salt and pepper, just to add flavour. You don't want to use milk because that's just going to make it too runny. On top of that I'm going to actually put some cheddar and some parmesan, just for a nice cheesy crust. I'll start with the cooking. I've got a pan on a medium heat. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of olive oil if you've got it, then add the onions and the garlic. I just want the onions and the garlic to cook for a minute, maybe a minute and a half or so, just to start the softening process of the onions. Then we're going to add the carrots and the celery. I'm going to let that fry same heat for about another three minutes or so. Alright, so you can see it's just been frying for about 3 minutes or so. You don't want to get it brown. You don't want to brown any of the onions or anything like that, so make sure the heat is not too high. I'm going to add the mince now. Just break that up so it fries nice and even. As you can see, it's just about there. You want the mince to be cooked on a fairly high heat, so that as soon as there's no more pink left, then you know it's ready to put the next ingredient in, which is flour. So I'll just pour that in there, stir this in through the pot. Adding flour make sure that you have a nice thick gravy, which is what we're looking for. Okay, ready to add the other ingredients. This is the stock pot, and then we want 2 bay leaves, a teaspoon of thyme, stock cube. Just break that up, and last of all I'm going to add the tomato paste. Now I've added the wine, which is about 80 ml of wine, or a glass, depending on how big your glass is of course, and plus the 200 ml of water. Now if you're using stock broth, then you won't need the water, you just have the 200 ml of broth. Another really important ingredient is the Worcestershire sauce. You're going to need between 1 and 2 tablespoons of this. It's more about taste for you, but no less than 1. If you're one of these rare people that doesn't like Worcestershire sauce, then you're welcome to just leave it out, or leave out any of the ingredients, to be honest, apart from the mince and the mash. All we have left to do is to add the peas towards the end of the cooking, which is about 30 minutes or so. We need to simmer it and reduce it right down to really as thick as gravy as we can, and then we're going to add salt and pepper just to season it to taste. Don't forget to stir it now and again, otherwise it may just get stuck on the bottom. And at the same time I'm cooking the potatoes ready to make the mash. We're coming up to just about 25 minutes or so for the meat, so it's basically cooked. At the same time I've cooked the potatoes, just letting them steam for a little bit. I've got some butter in there already. Just going to add some salt and pepper. And salt and pepper is to taste. And then, as you know, I like to put some cream in there as well. Not milk, otherwise, as I keep saying, it'll make it too runny. So now I need to get my whisk out, and we're going to whisk the potatoes. And before I forget, I must put the peas into the meat as it's nearly done. The beauty of this recipe is that you can put in which veg you prefer, leave out stuff that you don't like. It's a very flexible recipe. So if you've got a favourite veg, put it in. Why not? So you just want to make sure your whisk is upright and start off on a slow. This is looking really nice. Nice colours. Perfect consistency. What you need to do now is actually take out the bay leaves. You don't want to be chewing on them when you're ready to eat. Alright, next job. Get your baking dish. Got your baking dish, you need to put all of this into the bowl. And now it's really important that we just leave this to cool for a little while, because what that does is it helps it to solidify a little bit, so it's much easier to put the mash on the top. So I'm going to leave that for maybe half an hour or so. Okay, we're ready to put the mash on top of the meat, but before I did that I'll just put the oven on. It needs to be at about 180 degrees centigrade and 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so that's around about gas mark 5 or so. So what I'm going to do is get dollops of potato and gently put them on top. So if you've got some left, just fill in the holes that you've got, or make it a little bit more even, and then we're just gently, without pushing down, just gently spreading it out. I've already grated some cheddar and Parmesan. I've mixed them together, makes it easier to spread. And you'll get to know me, I like cheese in my dishes, particularly these ones. And then just gently spread it around as even as you can. Like I say, I like cheese, so I tend to have quite a lot on here, but you have what you prefer. Okay, it's ready to put in the oven, so I'm just going to wait for that to get to temperature, and then we'll put it in for 25 to 30 minutes, or until as crispy as you like it. There was one more thing which I forgot to tell you, is to just drizzle a little bit of melted butter or olive oil across the top. It just helps make it a little bit richer, a nice crispy top. Right, I've just taken it out the oven, turned it up for the last 10 minutes or so, turned the heat up to about gas mark 7, just so we get this nice crispy colour on top, looking good. What you need to do now is just let it stand for 5 minutes, so all the oils and so on settle down, ready to eat. There you go, cottage pie. It's quite hot still. Yeah, that's a good one. Please try. Let me know what you think. Please join me on my journey by subscribing to Red One Afloat. Thank you, and see you soon.